Hi, my name is Anurag Tiwari. My student ID is K2328181, and this is assessment 2 for oodp. My project is called the Student Grade Analysis System. So, slide 2 is more about problem statement. Problem statement, the problem I am solving is a student grade analysis system. The input is 5 students. Each student has 3 subject grades. The process: first, we calculate the average for each student. Second, we determine if the person passes or fails, and the passing mark is 50%. Third, finding the class topper. The student with the highest average is the class topper. So for the output, an individual report for each student showing the average and pass or fail student status, plus the class topper name and score. So why is this useful? It is useful because it automates manual grading for teachers, eliminate calculation errors, and provide a quick class performance overview. Moving to Here is my input process and output chart. For input, I have 5 students level A through E. Each student have 3 subject. For processing, I sum the 3 grade and divide by 3 to get the average. Then I use decision. If the average is 50 or above, the student passes, otherwise they fail. I also compare each student average to find the highest and store the topper's name. For output, each student get their average and pass or fail status, and finally the class topper is displayed with the highest score. Moving to slide. So here is the flow chart showing the programming logic. The first program starts. First I declare a 2D array and use nested loop for input. Then a while loop validates that grade are between 0 to 100. Next I calculate the average, then the decision. If the average is 50 or above, the student passes. If below 50, they fail. Then another decision. If the current student average is higher than the highest average so far, I update the topper. Finally, I display all results and the class topper, then the program stops. The key concepts shown here are 2D array, nested for loop, while loop for validation, if else for pass or fail, and if decision for topper tracking. Moving to fourth, and if else decision. If the average is 50 or above, the student passes. If below 50, they fail. Fifth, and if decision that track the highest average and they store the topper's name. Moving to slide 6. Here's my Java code. Here's my complete Java code, line 1 through 44. The code import the scanner for user input. The main method contains the entire program. I declare a 2D array called grades with 5 rows and 3 columns. I also create a string array for student name A through E. Then I use nested for loop to enter grade for each student and each subject. A while loop validates that each grade is between 0 to 100. After input, I calculate average using another for loop, and if else statement determine pass or fail. Another if statement find the class topper. Finally, I display all result and close the scanner. Moving to slide 7. Code examination part 1. Let me explain the first part of the code, line 1 to 18. Line 1, input the scanner classes. Line 2, declare the public class grade analyzer. Line 4 is the main method where the program starts. Line 5, create a scanner object for user input. Line 6, declare a 2D array with 5 rows for student and 3 columns for subject. This stores all the grade. Line 7, create a string array with the student name and student A through student E. Line 9 and 12 contains nested for loop. The outer loop run 5 times, once for each student. The inner loop run 3 times, once for each student, each subject. Line 13 to 16 contain a while loop that validates the input. If the grade is less than 0 or greater than 100, it asks the user to re-enter a valid grade. Moving to slide 8. Here's the code explanation for part 2. Now line 21 to 28, the processing logic. Line 21, print the results, report header. Line 22, initialize highest average to 0. Line 23, initialize an empty string for the topper. Line 24 to line 38 contain a loop for the process each student. Line 25 to line 28 calculate the sum of 3 grades. Line 29, calculate the average by dividing the sum by 3. Line 30 to 34 contain if else decision. If the average is 50 or above, the status is set to pass, otherwise it's set to fail. Line 35 to 38 contain an if decision that checks if the student's average is higher than the highest average. If yes, it updates the highest average and set the topper to the current student name. Slide 9. Code explanation part 3. Finally, line 39 to 34. Line 39 prints each student results showing their name, average formatted, two decimal places, and their pass or fail status. Line 41 print the class topper with their name and highest average. Line 42 closes the scanner and prevent resource leaks. Line 44 close the classes. This complete the code explanation. Moving to slide 10, program demonstration. Now let me demonstrate the program running live on my computer. As you can see, I'm entering the grade for student A 85 90 78, student B 45 52 48, student C 70 65 80, student D 30 40 35, student E 95 88 92. The program calculates the result. Student A passes with 84.33, student B fails with 48.33, student C passes with 71.67, student D fails with 35, student E passes with 91.67. The class topper is student E with 91.67%. The program works correctly. Going to Here's my test cases table. I tested 5 normal students, one invalid input of -5, which triggered the re-entry prompt, and the edge cases of all 0 and all 100. All actual output matches the expected output. Every test passed successfully. The class topper is student E with 91.67%. In conclusion, I successfully designed and implemented a student grade analyzer using 2D array, nested for loop, a while loop for validation, and if else decision for pass or fail, and if decision for topper tracking. All the test cases were passed. Thank you so much for watching.